No, you'll be right, man. Just push straight through there and head out here to the left. You'll be right.
She'll be right.
What can I say? War's hell, and I don't always know what I'm talking about. Now, the game you are looking at is called Insurgency. It was for sale just the other weekend on Steam, and I was lucky enough to get gifted a free copy of it. So thank you to Seggy for that. Now, I came into this game as a completely blind experience. I had never heard of Insurgency before, so I've actually been having a really great time with it, so I thought I might share my thoughts with you so far. Now, I guess the first thing you need to know about Insurgency is that it is a hardcore first-person cooperative shooter. And when I say hardcore, what I mean is that this style of game is hardcore, much like the hardcore mode in Battlefield. Only this shoots a lot more for realism than something like Battlefield does. I'd actually closer compare this game with a first-person Arma 3 style game, as opposed to something like Battlefield. You'll notice there's virtually no HUD on the screen at all. There's no mini-map. There's no indication as to what's going on around you. Very, very limited things. You can see where the objectives that you're working towards are. Your teammates, for example, are given a small green dot. And once you get used to it, it is quite easy to differentiate between the enemy and your teammates. But it's just subtle enough that if you're a little bit trigger happy, a bit of an itchy finger, you may still confuse a teammate for an enemy in a sort of intense moment and shoot them. And yes, there is friendly fire in this game. Now, another reason that I compare it to a hardcore style game mode is the damage model. Now, the damage model in this game is insane. Generally speaking, if you take 2 rounds, you're dead. And that can happen awfully quickly. And depending on the gun and depending if you get hit in the head, you will get dropped in one shot. So this game is a lot more about preserving your own life. You only get 1 life, and you do not get to respawn again until your team captures the objective. Whether that be to blow up an objective or to capture it like your more traditional capture the flag. But the point is, once you're dead, you don't get to respawn until that objective has been cleared by the rest of your team. Now, if you want to be a good member of your team, then that means you need to stay alive. And the best way to stay alive is to work together with your other squad mates and make sure that you're all looking after each other, and the game becomes a lot more rewarding when you do work. It's not a game that really favours the lone wolf, someone who thinks they can just charge ahead, go full Rambo, and just take care of everything themselves. Now, when I first heard basically what I just told you, all the details about this being a hardcore game, I must admit I wasn't overly excited for it. I always go back to Battlefield as a direct comparison, so if you don't play Battlefield, I'm sorry, but a lot of my comparisons do go back there because I do play it a lot, and I think a lot of people know what it's like. And the hardcore mode in Battlefield, I am not a fan of at all. I just don't think the game works well. It's not well balanced. Half of the guns in the game become just useless and negated, and yeah, I just don't like it. But I heard Frankie on PC actually make a quote the other day. He said that with Battlefield, the hardcore mode feels tacked on. DICE created the game to work a certain way in its softcore mode, and then they created a hardcore game mode for it. Whereas because Insurgency is actually created from scratch to be a hardcore realism simulator style of gameplay, it works a lot better. Now, I must admit that for a game I'd never anticipated actually liking once I heard what it was about, I've been very pleasantly surprised. The game actually does a really great job of creating a particular atmosphere, exactly what it's going for. It's that realistic, simulated type of sort of war experience, I guess. And, you know, you really do feel that. You have to work together well as a team. If the team doesn't work well together and you get split up, then everything can go south in a real hurry. Yeah, it only takes a couple of good shots from the other team, and because the damage model is so brutal, even one grenade can just ruin the whole map that you've just worked your way through. So it really does get you quite worked up and a bit of a sweat going on, so it's a pleasant surprise for something I didn't think I'd enjoy much. It is obviously a slow-paced game, so if you're looking for a Twitch-style shooter, then go back to your Call of Duty or your Counter-Strike, or even your Battlefield if you want to drag that into that category as well. But if you want something you can play with your friends, or anyone for that matter, slow pace, work together well, Maybe Armor 3, there's a bit too long a break in between action. This thing, there's always action going on, there's always things going on, and really pleasantly surprised by Insurgency. Now, don't believe it's on sale anymore, but I think the standard Steam price is only $14.99 US anyway, so it's definitely worth checking out if it looks like this appeals to you. Now, if you are wondering, this particular game has been versus AI, and we actually prefer that because when you're taking on another team of real people, a lot of it comes down to how good or how bad your team is. When you're taking on AI, you can get away a little bit more if it's just a couple of bad players on the team. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, remember to leave a like, hit subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you next time.